seemed to work. Was that just because of all the youth and sort of the patchwork nature of things?
Yeah, my big thing this week was if we can just get a hat on a hat, we're going to have a chance. You know, if we can just cover them up and kind of minimize some of the things off the edge. You know, we had a good plan. You know, guys executed it well. Maffa, like I said, was awesome, but you know, we did a good job. We had some duo as well, so it was worked out well for us. We just, you know, I wish there was a couple of those drives right there at the end. You know, I'd like to have a couple of those back. I felt like we had a chance to put it away, and obviously the fumble at the end, you just like unbelievable, like unbelievable. And then right there at the end, I was hoping I could take a knee, but I couldn't take a knee. You know, because my chart, you know, I got 2 timeouts. You can take, you can take 50. There's 2 timeouts. It's 53 seconds, and you can take a knee. It was 58 seconds, and sure enough, it came down to 5 seconds. So you got a 4th down. We were able to airball it and in the game, but I wish I didn't have to have handed it off. But it was they did a good job, man. They really executed well.
Dabo, you said after Wake Forest, you weren't going to talk about the record, but now you're #1 in the wins record for a place that's been playing football a long time.
Yeah, I wish it had happened about 4 games ago. You know, listen, I mean, I was joking with Tim Beret, but you know, Frank Howard's probably gotten in pretty good with God up there. He's probably, knowing Coach Howard, he's probably got his ear, and I can hear him right now. We're gonna make this hard on this old boy, I think he probably planned this before the season. Like, you know, it's gonna happen at Notre Dame. I'm glad it happened here. First of all, it was pretty cool, but because you know a lot of players, I got to see a lot of my players. I got to see Aaron Kelly, you know, I saw Darrell Berry, you know, I saw Sharon Peak. You know, I got a lot of guys on this staff, and obviously our fans. So it was, and then for it to come against a team like Notre Dame. But I think the biggest thing is I think Coach Howard wanted to remind everybody that it ain't easy to win. Number one, and you know, like I said a few weeks ago, I mean that record's been there 54 years. For a couple reasons. One, it's hard to win, and 2, it's hard to stay somewhere long enough and win consistently enough where you can stay, right? You know, so I'm just a blessing. It's not ever anything I've ever even dreamed about. It's never been a goal or anything like that. It's just here we are. Just put your head down and go to work, and you know, credit goes to the player and all these coaches. We've had some amazing players, and man, they're all a part of that. It was pretty cool looking at my phone coming up here. I'm going to be sending text messages back for about 3 days. I just saw a lot of players, you know, and, you know, the credit goes to those guys. It's really special. We're all a part of that. And, you know, I'm thankful to the good Lord for just bringing me the right players, you know, the right staff, and bringing me here and allowing me to be here long enough. So thankful, and just want to get 167. That's it.
Dabo, a lot of guys banged up in the secondary. What do you feel like the key was to just playing so well in past defense today?
Well, those guys were relentless up front. But, you know, we got good players. Man, that little Avion's special now. I mean, J. Lou ain't no slouch. You know, Makuba and Barnes has been a great player for us all year. So we've got great depth, and we just haven't played a complete game. And this is only the 3rd time all year we've won the turnover margin. And you know, I know everybody wants these great answers, and nobody wants to hear when I tell you. I mean, if we're not last in the country in turnovers, we're 8-1, 9-0. I mean, that's just the reality of it, with all the same problems, but the narrative's different. Nobody wants to hear that, but that's the truth. And these guys have played. This is game 9, so they've got experience. It's not like it was the first game. And again, Barnes has been awesome all year. Avion's gotten a little bit of experience. He's very confident. He's detailed in what he does. You know, Nate, J. Lou, proud of him. And then Makuba, I thought would as. You know, we had to, you know, their style of play. We had a lot of what we call big nickel. we win a lot of base personnel with Rook. We got some big people on the field. Peter Woods was awesome. Rook, all those guys. TD, and they did a really good job. K-Part, all those guys were outstanding. But, those guys got it done. The coaches put a great plan together, and they executed well. And then Kylan, I thought, really worked really hard Thursday, Friday to make sure he was ready to go play in the nickel package that we needed him to play and be where he needed to be. So we tried to simplify a couple things there, but they just really executed at a high level.
Dabo, how do you think today's win will impact the team's psyche heading into these final 3 games?
Well, it ain't gonna hurt. That is for sure. We needed a win. Because momentum and confidence is a big thing. And, that you go back to the Florida State game and, a game you really statistically dominate and you get beat. You win that game, the psyche and the confidence that comes from that is a powerful thing, especially with young people. But it doesn't go your way, and then you have a double overtime loss, and it's tough. It's a tough thing. So a win like this is huge, especially with all that was out. I mean, we haven't had probably our 2 best receivers all year. Nobody. I mean, Colt Turner and Antonio Williams are going to be great players. They are great players, but they haven't been here all year hardly. And we just keep finding ways. This is a good football team, and our depth in the offensive line showed up today in a big way. And so hopefully it'll give us a good boost. Last time we beat these guys here in 2015, we went on the best 5-year run in the history of college football. And hopefully we'll look back 5 years from now and we'll be able to say, man, that Notre Dame game, that was where, man, they kind of the worm turned a little bit. So, but it doesn't get any easier. Georgia Tech's playing really good football, tough game, going to be a tough team, and North Carolina's really, really good. Always tough to go down to Columbia, so it doesn't get any easier. It's kind of like playoff football every week for us. But today we'll enjoy it. We need to enjoy it. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to celebrate it, and we're going to show up Monday and get ready for a tough Georgia Tech team and see if we can take some momentum out of it.
Coach, I think you switched to your long snapper, Florenzo, and
Yep.
Casperson on punts and kicks, did
Yep.
you not?
We did because, we switched them because if y'all remember talking about that, Casperson's almost like 98%, laces out, and Flo was like 50%, and he was always, and so Casperson would have done both, but the Flo, they're both like .66 on their timing on their snaps, and so he gives us more in coverage. He's just a really good athlete. He'll have a chance to play in the NFL at that position because he's a good little snapper, but he can really cover. Like, he's a factor in the coverage game, and he's shown up several times this year on that. But that's been a good thing for us. I mean, because he is really, if you rate that position, 0 to 10 as far as what their ability coverage-wise and how they can factor in. Now you're never going to sacrifice the snap for better coverage, but if all things are even, you're going to take that. And he's about an 8 out of 10. He's really good. He brings a lot to the table coverage-wise.
Seemed like Bill Boffa was running very, very hard today. Not that he hasn't all year, but did you see any kind of different mindset with them today, with kind of being the guy going into the game, or was there just more room, you feel like?
I just think, he knew what his role was going to have to be today. I challenged him all week. I said, hey, I want to be talking about our number 7 when this game's over. It's going to be 2 number 7s. It needs to be our number 7. And hey, this is your role this week. This is what the team needs. And Shipley can't play, and you're going to have to carry the load. And he was ready. He was mentally focused and ready. I think it was a school record, maybe 36 carries. And we rode him. We probably should have gone to him a couple more times where we got away from him, but he was awesome.
talked about wanting to take a knee there at the end, but it took a lot of confidence to put the ball back in Phil's hands after he had just fumbled.
Yep, and prayer. And prayer. It took a lot. We didn't have any choice. You know, I was like, 'cause we had guys like, we got to take a knee. I said, we can't take a knee. You know, we can't. You know, if we're going to really, like I said, you can take 53 seconds off with 2 timeouts if you do everything efficiently. So if it's more than that, you have to run the ball. You have to, and because it's 4th down, I was able to airball it. You know, so and could have airballed it, you know, backed up too with 5 seconds. You figure you can get 7, 8 is, you know, you might need to bring Taj Boyd back. 8 is tight. Something we work every single week, but with 5 seconds, I knew it was over. If we could just, you know, like get the snap, nothing crazy happened, we could eat the time up. But yeah, it was a lot of. I kept telling him, I was like, just go down, don't fight, you know, cover that ball up, and you know, I hate it for him because he had such a good game, and that was a tough moment. But our defense, they just kept responding. It was awesome.
Dabo, you and Kade had an embrace there after the end of the game. Can you talk about that moment and what that meant to you two?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big win for that kid. I mean, it really was a big win. His teammate on the other team too. It was a big moment. You know, he's going to be a great one. He's growing. He's learning. He's had to battle through. He's got a lot of mental toughness. He's got some moxie, and that was a big time win for him. It was a big time win for him. You know, I hated it. You know, since Chapel brought up the interception, we average 1 a game now, Chapel. You know, just 1 a game. That's okay. You know, and they score for the other team. By the way, they don't just catch it and fall down, Chapel. It's an inside joke for people around here, but I hated that one for him because he put the ball right on the money. And Bo, you know, Bo just didn't. You know, Bo uses a hand catcher. He just didn't. He just let it in his body, kind of crossed his body and bounced up. But he played good. He did a nice job for us. We tried to pop a draw right there before the half, and oh man, it was that close to creasing them, and then we were going to maybe try to get one more first down, clock it, use our timeout, get a first down, clock it, kick a field goal right before the half. That was kind of what we were trying to do, but you know, but he did what he needed to do. He probably took 1 sack he shouldn't have taken. They went, I think it was a 2-man deal, and just held them, just get rid of it. You know, it was like 3rd and forever, and he made it 4th and forever more, put a little more on the punt. So that was probably a play. But he's just tough. He's a grinder. That kid didn't practice. He didn't practice Monday or Tuesday. You know, he's been battling an injury as well, and he didn't really get any like competitive reps until Wednesday. So it's been a week. So it was a cool moment to be able to celebrate with him. An awesome win for his young career. He'll have a lot more. That was an awesome one.
Is that really a punt pass option?
PPO, baby. I made it up about 3 years ago. Yeah.
Had you seen him do it before?
Who?
Yeah, on that punt pass.
We do it every week. We do it every week.
What was he supposed to, what was the option? What was he?
If it's open, throw it. And if it's not, punt it. It's a punt pass option.
Campbell, your run defense.
It's going to be the new trend in college football.
Your run defense, Estimate had those.
They've been waiting on me to call it for 3 years. So they all looked at me like, he's really calling that. I'm like, yeah.
Estimate had those 2 big runs on the
Yep.
first series, and then you guys really clamped down on it
Yeah,
after that.
yeah. I think the one, I believe Barrett didn't get over the top, and the other one they motioned and we didn't slingshot it. We just and it wasn't anything we hadn't practiced. We just didn't do our job right there, and that was the two that they popped, and they had a couple others that they dented us a little bit, but man, those guys were awesome, physical. I mean, they've been awesome all year. You know, they really have, and I mean, it says a lot about those guys. You know, especially when you're young and you've worked your butt off. I mean, you guys got like Tyler Davis and Rook and these XT and Mask on these guys, and you know, our defense has played well enough to be undefeated for sure. And man, they just keep battling. It's just really cool to see. It's really cool to see. And I've said this a few times. I feel like I'm living 2010 over again because that's what I saw then. A group of guys who cared about each other. They didn't point fingers. They love each other. And they battled to the end. And even though we had some tough breaks that year, and this team's had some tough things go, that year we couldn't make a kick. This year it's been ball security. But they have never quit. And it just says a lot about, I think, the character of our guys here, our coaches, the culture of Clemson. And, man, it's important to them. You know, it really is. And you saw the fight in these guys. There's a lot. I told them today, I said, in 3.5 hours, playing a game that you love, that you've played your whole life, you have the opportunity to impact a lot of people. You know, because there's somebody out there that's struggling. There's somebody out there that needs a little joy today. There's somebody out there that maybe wants to quit. And maybe you might inspire someone that, hey, you don't quit. Even when people count you out, and you don't quit. You keep battling. You keep fighting. And, you know, it's a really cool thing to watch.
I know it's early for next week, but is there what's your hope for maybe getting some of these injured guys back?
Well, I mean, we lost 2 for the year. Marcus Tate and Coble are out. I mean, maybe Marcus Tate for a bowl game if we can get to one. Maybe. But I don't. Shipley's day-to-day. Yeah, he's day-to-day. And Maskell's day-to-day. JP, Sherry, Antonio, we're hoping to get him back maybe at the very end. So it's just kind of where we are.
Coach, you mentioned halftime, just how the game was going. All 3 phases played outstanding,
Yep.
and that's how we got our first 4 scores to the ground. Field goal, the touchdown pass to Brown, and the pick 6. Just finally a complete game for the whole squad to finally kind of hang the hat on and just boost up. And I asked you last week after the loss to NC State, it was 20 years ago, kind of sitting in the same place, took a tough loss in the Tar Heel State, came back home early November, upset Florida State, kind of Groundhog Day or kind of deja vu, if you will, and what do you think of going forward?
Well, I hope we have the same finish. I'll take it right now. I lived that. Yeah, I remember that very well. Would we lose like 45-17 or something at Wake, or 38-17? I don't know, something like that. And playing number 3, Florida State, undefeated, got no chance, 5-4, and I remember that well, man. It was a amazing win. And you know what? That win, I can't remember who was asking me the question about confidence, but that win, I think, boosted that team. And then we beat Duke like 40-6 or something the next week, and then we went 63-17, and then all of a sudden we go from no bowl to the Peach Bowl, and we're playing number 6 Tennessee, and we blow them out. But that's what confidence will do. That's what momentum does. That was I'll take it. It'd be great. Be a great finish for this team right here. You know, you just got to run your race. This is this team's race, and you know we just got to just show up and see if we can have the type of finish that we all want to have, and then apply all the lessons. This is a good football team. It really is. They're really talented. And nobody watches the tape and gets excited to play the Tigers, and nobody feels sorry for the Tigers either. Okay, that's for sure. But there's a lot of great days ahead for Clemson football. There's no doubt about it.
Coach, Clemson now 5-3 all-time against Notre Dame. You remain the only program with an all-time winning record against Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma, and most of that is thanks to your tenure.
What was the first part? What'd you say?
5-3 all-time against Notre Dame.
Oh, Clemson.
Yeah. Only program with a winning record against Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma.
And Clemson? Ohio State, Oklahoma, and Clemson?
Clemson is the only program with a winning all-time record against.
Oh, against those 3. Oh, well, that's good. That's good. I like it. Tweet that one. Tim, tweet that one. Venables might not like it, but that's good to know. That's great. Yeah.
Talk about punting and how big that was in the game today.
It was awesome. In fact, they made Aiden give a speech in the locker room, and he just said, "Hey, I got the defense's back." It was awesome, and they took a lot of pride in that. I'm really proud of our coaches and the guys that have taken ownership of that. Man, the Shield did a good job communicating. They really did. Peter Woods, we got him back this week. We didn't have him last week. Got him back and got him in the Shield. Chap Pendergrass. Nobody even knows who Chap Pendergrass is. He's our anchor on the Shield, and he's a pretty good little offensive lineman too. He's a redshirt freshman. He's gonna make it here at Clemson Center. He's gonna be a good little player. He's tough, but we put him in that Shield, and that kid has done a great job of communicating and getting us all on the same page. And they were relentless. You know, Notre Dame's they blocked one on us last year for a touchdown, and so it was a stressful week because they do a lot and they come after you. And we did an awesome job, as we did on punt return. And how about Hamp Green, man? And that kid, just trust him. You know, obviously we've had injuries and you know, we've had a couple ball security things there. And that kid made some plays for us and just kind of, you know, gained some critical yards. But I thought all of our special teams were great. Aiden was special. It helps your defense when you can flip the field. And that's what they kept saying, let's flip the field, let's flip the field. And they took a lot of pride in it, those guys getting downfield, you know, pinning them deep.
On Kade's injury, was there any concern he might not play today and need a win?
There was a lot of concern Sunday. Yeah, a lot of concern Sunday. A little bit of concern Monday. Not much concern Tuesday. Didn't look great Wednesday, but here he is. So I was proud of him.
Coach, it's been almost a month since your last home game in Death Valley, and you got 3 of them in a row. How good does it feel to be back in Death Valley? Obviously, you got 2 more headed into the end of the season. How good does it feel to be back in this environment?
Well, it feels good to win, regardless of where we are. But this place is special. I mean, you know, any college football fan knows that, whether you pull for us or against us, this place is special. And we've done pretty good here. You know, since about 2013, we haven't lost many games here. Not many at all. I think maybe 3. So, you know, it's a pretty good home field advantage, and it's nice. It's nice to be able to stay at the Hilton Garden Inn and not have to not have to you know, get home at 6 a.m. or whatever. So it's good to be home. Feels like it's been a while since I've been here.
Any questions for Coach from Zoom?
Yeah. Hey, Dabo, it's Andrea Adelson from ESPN. You mentioned Tyler from Spartanburg earlier, so I guess I'll be the one to ask. Kind of the different drive or determination, chip on the shoulder, motivation from the players to come out and play the way that they did today?
No, I had nothing to do with it. I mean, these guys, they want to win, and I'm sure that guy's a great guy. You know, just pretty easy to talk about Tyler from Greenville. I'm sure he's a great guy, and you know, we all do things that sometimes we regret or say things that we probably shouldn't say in a moment. We've all done that. Certainly have as well. And but no, I don't think that had anything to do with our team at all.
Anybody else in the room?
Coach, most people know that for road games, you take some bits of Death Valley and sprinkle it. But today, you brought something with you, and I hate to ask you this, but you brought something with you for the first time here to Clemson. 8 years ago, this was the game that your dad wanted to get to.
Yep.
And unfortunately didn't make it.
Yep.
But you brought something to fit into that.
Yeah. I don't even know why that was on my mind. I don't even know why. You know, God just sometimes puts things in your mind. And my dad passed away 8 years ago, August of 15, and he battled cancer. We actually brought him up here, and he, you know, he had a tough life. He lived a tough life. He earned it. But, you know, he was my best friend in the end, and I'm thankful for that, and thankful for the cancer, honestly, because it brought him up here. I had a chance to spend time with him I would have never had. I had a chance to have conversations with him I would have never had, and I'm thankful for that. But, that whole summer as he was getting chemo and radiation and all that stuff, he just kept talking about Notre Dame, that game. It was the only game he wanted to come to. And, at that time, Clemson hadn't played Notre Dame since the 70s. And so anyway, my dad died right in the middle of camp, August 8th, two-a-days. And that was a crazy time. I had to leave camp and go home, and there was a lot to, deal with. And I just remember being at the funeral home. And, those are tough moments, right? We've all probably been in a situation like that. And those are tough moments. You're trying to do an obituary, and the funeral home people are doing their job, and you got to, it's a lot of stuff to deal with. And the guy says, hey, I would ask you something. And we probably need a decision pretty soon, And he's like, would you like to have your father's thumbprint? And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, we make a charm or a little locket, with your dad's thumbprint, but we probably need to decide that here pretty soon. I'm like, well, yeah. And I started going, okay, here's his sisters, my brothers. I'm like, yeah, we'll take 8, And I'm like, and I never thought about it again, not 1 second. And those of you who were around here that year in 15, remember how much buildup there was for that game, right? There was a lot of anxiety. There was a lot of, we had a 16-day layoff. I think that was about right. Remember, we won on like the last play at Louisville, and it was like a 16-day layoff, and we're 12, they're 6. And it was one of those games, if you win, you're going to really, have a chance to get on a wave. And then there's a hurricane, You're probably not going to be able to throw the ball. It's going to be a crazy, crazy game. And it was just a lot. And I remember Friday before the game, I was literally in my coat and tie, walking out of the house, and got my briefcase, got my suitcase. I'm heading to the truck, and Kath comes running in, and she says, I don't know if is Kath in here? I don't know if she's in. Oh, there she is. Kath comes running in, and she's kind of got tears in her eyes, and she's like, babe, you're not going to believe what was in the mailbox. And I'm like, what? I thought about it, and it was my dad's thumbprint. It's my dad's thumbprint, and it was kind of a cool moment. I was just one of those. I think that God winks at us, God bear hugs us, God body slams us. And that was one of those bear hug moments for me, where I didn't really know how it would play out, but I knew we were going to win that game. I don't know how to explain that. And that's why I was so emotional after that game, because I just really, I missed him, and I knew he wanted to be there. And then today, I was thinking about that. So, yeah, that's the first time I've ever brought my dad with me, if you will. So I brought that little thumbprint, a little locket, and so my dad knew Frank Howard. I've told y'all that. I met my dad and mom, had dinner multiple times with Frank Howard. In fact, Bobby Hayes, this guy, Bobby, wave your hand. This guy back here has not been to a game in, I don't know, a couple of years, and hadn't been to a game this year. And Bobby and Judy about half raised me as well. And Bobby was the head of the SWAT team for years and years and years in Birmingham. Kind of cool that he's here, because so Bobby was the head of the SWAT team, and in those days, Birmingham, Alabama, we even when I was there, we would play in Legion Field a lot in Birmingham. Alabama-Auburn game was always in Birmingham. And Frank Howard would always go to the game. They'd have Big Thursday. Coach Howard would head off. And Bobby was in charge of all the detail for Coach Bryant. And Coach Bryant and Coach Howard were great friends. And and times were different back then, right? And so Bobby's job was to make sure that Coach Bryant, Coach Howard, could get together and hang out for a little bit. And then, Coach Bryant had to get ready for the game. And y'all all know Coach Howard was a character. And he would come into town, and Bobby would take care of him. And Judy, and Bobby and Judy multiple times invited my mom right there, my mom and dad, to go to the game. They would invite them, and, Bobby'd get them parking and whatever. And I've got a picture in my office of my mom and dad having dinner with Frank Howard. And then later on in life, I was probably about 10, I guess. My dad had a surprise party at the Holiday Inn there in Hoover. It was big time. You get the party room at the Holiday Inn, and